Test, test, 1, 2, test, test, 1, 2. Test, test, 1, 2, test, test, 1, 2. Okay, that's a bit better. Alright, let's finish this up. And if we do a quick enough job of it, I might do some SRW. Sam watched them through her drones until they entered Gray's tent. She considered trying to listen in, but thought better of it. This was their first meeting. As political. Oh, it messed up. She considered trying to listen in, but as this was her first political meeting, with the nearby kingdoms, she figured it would be best to put her not to risk it, even if they didn't have a way to detect her. So, are you sure we can speak in here in private? Lady Allagast said as she took the nicer of the two seats Gray had offered them. While he had clearly taken the time to touch up his space to make it more livable, it was still a tent. And clearly an active military command center, as seen by the piles of maps and papers strewn about. She honestly wished they could do this inside her own carriage. She dearly wished she could do this within their the comfort of her enchanted carriage. Thanks to spatial magic, it was more than large enough to accommodate all of them. Sorry, reviewing my notes. Alright, where was I? Sorry about that. But sorry about that. I was trying to fix something on the edge of my screen. Etiquette dictated that she must meet the commander of the local forces at the location of his choosing. If you mean no one in the camp can hear you, yes, there are silencing wards on the tent. If you're referring to if Sam can hear us, I have no doubt if she wanted to, she could. Her people tend to it's hard to quite understand quite what we're dealing with here without seeing it yourself. Well, they're not quite everywhere. Within the valley. They do have a rather impressive subterranean network. That allows them to rapidly deploy within the valley. So everyone just assumes that Sam's swarm can emerge from just about anywhere on the ground around here. He says with a casual shrug. If she has such abilities, why are we wasting so much manpower protecting this valley? Because they're not. Making her displeasure of being sent here all the more clear to everyone in the room. Because that's a relatively new development. Oh. The story is called A Nanite in a Fantasy. It follows a isekai individual named Sam who gets resurrected as a drop of nanites in a fantasy world. Now, these aren't the gray goo, all devouring type nanites. No, these are the more, I won't say realistic, but closer to what we believe we can achieve with nanites in the near future. Type nanites. Hold on, I'll post a link to the actual story itself in the chat if you give me one moment. While I'm working on that, you have any questions for the story? Give me a second. My internet's being really slow. Oh, thank you. It's it's actually part of a combined universe with several of my other stories. Yeah, you can go ahead and say it. Just keep in mind, this is a rough draft. This is just me typing it out. I am going to go back and re-edit all of this later. Back. Oh, don't crash. Don't crash. Come on. I hope you didn't lose connection there. Sorry, my internet's been iffy all day, ever since I lost power this morning. But I wanted to keep my usual streaming schedule. I see what you mean. Yeah. Like I said, this is an extremely rough draft. This is just me typing it out. Yeah. Several, yes. Some are a bit older projects that need some rework, but I haven't abandoned any of them. They with the full intention of completing them later or are still being worked on. But yeah, this one is actually, well, it's not written in a direct canon connection. Which do I recommend? Currently, I'm about to finish book one of The Last Guardian, which is canonically connected to this story. While they do not take place on the same world, they take place in the same universe, and there will be future crossovers. But yeah, if you're looking for one of my stories to start with, that would definitely be the best one because it's the most complete, has the most chapters, and is connected to both this story and Class Tanker. All right, well, I hope you enjoy. I'm going to get started back on this. I'll keep an eye on chat though. Um, yeah, there it goes. I'm gonna try and keep an eye on chat. So, but if I don't notice your comment right away, just give me a second. Sam has only recently. All right, thanks, and I hope you enjoy. Um, I also, I believe there's a link to my YouTube page on the account where I have all my old streams backed up if you want to check them out. And thanks for the follow. Established said network. Good night, and I hope you enjoy. Partly with resources she earned from her cooperation with us. Partly in thanks to resources she earned with the collaboration she has with us. Sam was originally struggling to defend the valley on her own, barely able to keep the undead out of her forest, even with the aid of the local fauna. Transmuting the undead corpses into material to further her still rather infantile young war machine. Her main combat force is still the equivalent to a mobile hunter-gatherer city. Not too dissimilar to the hunting camps the orcs set up in the Great Plains. I believe you saw more than one of them, the silvery slime-looking things. From what I understand, it is a central for lack of a better word, command post. Or maybe core? It basically relays Sam's commands over long distances without direct connection. To which literally billions of tiny hunters, gatherers, and soldiers obey the command soldier-like creatures. As Sam has assured me, they're essentially mindless. Except for a few very base instincts. Receive her commands. Thus making up the entire silvery material body of the slimes. While they are particularly good at disposing of the undead one at a time, they are not particularly good at bringing them down. Thus why she was struggling so greatly at the beginning. While she does have some, for lack of a better word, mobile machine cities that are capable of fighting undead on their own, you have to realize what we would consider a relatively small scale is a dramatically grand scale to them. A single one of those slimes is a colony of literally billions of the swarm. Each of those mechanical hound-like creatures to us is a fortress city to them. They are fighting on a logistic and military scale that makes our entire front look pathetically small in comparison. But due to the sheer size difference between us two, her front, which is only this small valley, would be like asking a single kingdom to hold half the continent. It simply cannot be done. And while the valley is rich in natural resources, everything that isn't every literal scrap of resource she gets that isn't used to further bolster her own burgeoning economy is currently being put into militarization. And as that militarization stands, while it would be exceptionally impressive to an army of our kingdom size, on the scale we are fighting on, it roughly translates to 50 hound creatures, close to 100 of the flying machines, and anywhere between 30 and 60 of the slimes. And while she has taken to building larger flying machines capable of using crossbows, those crossbows can only hold so many rounds before they are forced to reload. To which they have to return to her forest to be reloaded. Her advancements and militarization are, in a word, impressive. But in comparison with our own, is, well, tiny. Because they are tiny. That valley, to us, is her entire nation. To them. Gray tried to explain. And doing so the only way he truly knew how, as if he was laying out a command operation. Even fishing out little a map of the valley and command tokens from his desk. Trying to get them to understand the state of what they were dealing with here. Had looked somewhat intrigued at points, but as he finished his explanation, he could tell she was rather unimpressed with his description of the situation. However, the young nobleman, the one he hadn't been informed about until today, and had yet to still give his name, looked absolutely fascinated. He could tell the man was from the Scholars Guild easily enough. The gaudy outfit the scholars were ever so fond of was hard to miss. Gray himself didn't know if he believed the stories that the outfit had come from one of the mythical otherworlders. Or if the scholars had just simply taken it up to be in even greater contrast with their counterparts in the Wizard Guild. Regardless, he had neither time nor energy to ponder the matter today. Fascinating. Simply fascinating. We have no record of any such machines in our archive, as far as I am aware. Nor do we have any record of a race similar to what you've described here. The Milocytes do have something similar with their fungal hosts they use for labor, but those are, well, not quite necromancy. As it is a fungal creature using the skeleton of a dead corpse as both nutrients and a frame to function upon, similar to a golem. I wonder just how similar the swarm is to such creatures. But to have spent so long within close connection to another race, a sentient one at that, is rather impressive and completely unheard of. By any chance, has anyone been able to meet with the young queen? Wait, is she young? Do we have any knowledge of how long her species lives? This clearly isn't their natural habitat, so there must be a reason she's here. The man had said rapidly, scribbling notes down in a small book he carried. using a rather expensive looking mechanical pen. Gray had managed to use one once or twice when he had been at a more influential noble's estate. They worked far better than the inkwell pens or the quills he was used to. Well, he did have a pen and did use it for the more important documents. If it were to get damaged out here, he'd have a hard time replacing it. So it currently sat safely away in his travel chest. To see this young man just walk around carelessly with one in his pocket was probably the biggest flex of wealth he could have pulled off, while probably being the most unintentional one as well. I do not know. She has not been coy with us per se, but it is clear she is learning the language as she goes. While it has been a while since we've run into an issue with a translation, it does still happen from time to time when she doesn't know a specific word. If you wish to investigate her, I'd recommend trying to speak to her directly. Gray said, looking up, half expecting the girl to chime in. Sam to chime in, only to be surprised when he saw no sign of them. Huh. Perhaps she has a better understanding of etiquette than I expected. It seems she's left us, as best as I can tell, alone to have our conversation. Gray said, as he started to get up from his desk. Why is it you sound so surprised by that fact? Sniffed distastefully. Oh, well, I highly doubt she means it to be rude, but usually with so many of her things, running around, usually all you have to do is say their name. Say the Queen's name and ask your question. And something will arrive to answer it shortly. let's head to the fountain. It's, well, not quite more official. She did go through the effort of making it as a direct communication point between us. I guess you could call it something close to an embassy. And with that, I think we're done. Yeah, we're done. Well, I wasn't expecting it to be that short. Um, I hope you enjoyed. This will be going up on my YouTube as part 2. As last week I was still getting over my cold and just couldn't finish it. Hopefully soon after this I'll get it edited and get it up on the Patreon. The Patreon, I believe, is currently 8 chapters ahead, though it's 8 chapters ahead of all my stories. Not just this one, which I think is only like 1 or 2 chapters ahead. Now, with that said, unless anyone has anything to say in the chat, I think that's it for now. Alright then, thank you for watching the stream, and this is Wrecker. Oh, I'll be trying to stream again around this time next week, on Thursday. I usually try to start sometime around 8 or 9, but I'm not always the best at it. So yeah, with that said, finally, this is Wrecker, signing off.